Hello everybody, Shwai. I'm Simon Pirotte and I'm the Chief Executive of Medr.
Hi, good morning, brother. This is Zaina. I work for City of Sanctuary, UK.
Shwai, my name's Fabb and I'm a fourth-year carpenter with Swansea Council.
So I think I'll start by asking you a few questions. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. Really, really good to see you. So Zaina, should we start with you? Do you want to tell us a little bit about your learning journey and how you got to where you are now?
Yeah, of course. So my learning journey started back in my home country, Syria. I used to be a teacher and a learning supporter, additional learning needs, supporting children and young people with learning disabilities. I worked in Syria and in Kuwait, and then I had to flee my home country because of the war there, and sought asylum here in Wales, as I hold non-UK qualifications, so it was really difficult to rebuild my life and my future without holding a new refreshment of qualifications. So I went back to do my master's in special education needs, additional learning needs, dyslexia at University of South Wales, and then now I'm about to start my PhD qualifications as well. I've just got a scholarship funded by the Welsh Government and ESRC to look at the Welsh language and bilingual education in Wales and whether it's promoted for migrants or not. My learning journey, I would say, never stopped since I was a little child, but in each level of my life was for a reason. But I really enjoyed it now more when I'm really big and really adult. Especially, I feel like I'm very much inspirational for not just my children as a single mom, but also for so many different refugee women around Wales. I think my learning journey telling them you can do it as well. So.
It's a fantastic, inspirational story. I've got lots of questions to ask you, but let's hear a little bit from Isaac. So tell us a bit about your journey then, Isaac.
Well, I've had quite a few ups and downs in my journey. So I started in school in Bishop Gwobrau in Swansea. Started off quite well, but as the years went on, I was falling behind in classes and my grades were dropping. I never fully grasped school, as I've got ADHD, but we didn't know that until I had just turned 17 after I'd left school. So I found school very hard to... I found sitting in a classroom doing that type of learning, I found that very difficult. So then I left school, I went to college to do I wanted to do sports and fitness. Unfortunately, I got kicked off of that course, and I was put onto a bridge course, which luckily it helped me stay in college. It gave me something to do. And while this was all going on, I had the birth of my first daughter, Erin. And so she gave me a bit of power to just strive through. And then after the bridge course, I got in contact with these people, Careers Wales, through the college, and they really helped me find a new college course, which led me onto the multi-skilled construction course in Jubilee Court. And it was just, I found my calling. And then after a year of doing that course and still keeping in contact with Careers Wales, they helped me secure a position with Swansea Council as an apprentice. And since then, we haven't looked back. It's just been amazing. My grades have come back up. I got my maths GCSE through the college. And I'm looking to get a distinction now, my level 3. So we've come a long way.
Fantastic, an equally inspirational story. And it's really interesting, you're both from different countries, different places, whatever, but I think the thing that unites you, I suppose, is this power of learning, isn't it? And I was really fascinated because you're both parents, and you talked about the importance then of being a role model for your children, and you were talking about the birth of your first daughter being something that inspired you to do the things that you were achieving. Can you say a little bit about that role of being a role model and how important learning is for your children as well?
So again, back to myself when I was little, so education was it wasn't like an option in my family. It was a need. It was something you can't say no to it. My parents were really, really strict with our education, not just me, but also my siblings, and now their grandsons. They really want them all the time, asking about their education, how they are doing at the school. So yeah, I have that bit of background of being very much determined, I would say, when it comes to education. But yeah, also with the children, I really want them to have that pride of themselves, especially with being migrants or forced migrants, basically, with lots of stigmas there. And I think education really, really important in terms of clearing up all these stigmas and these labels, and saying, no, we are really, I would say, like, positive people. We can give back to the community that hosted us, and we are now calling it home. It's not just it's not just an education to learn or to get a job, but also to rebuild a future, to rebuild a life ahead, not just for me, for them as well.
That's a really excellent answer, yeah. Isaac, what are you thinking?
Well, being a parent and a role model is something you can't understand until you have kids. And like recently, I've just realised how much both of my parents did for me when I was struggling in school. Like, I got kicked out of school, didn't finish it, and just the time and effort that they put in to help rebuild me is just something I want to give my kids. And I want to give them the options my parents gave me. And you can't fathom it until you have someone like this in your life, like a child in your life. And it is a big drive, and it's got me where I am today. And I'm sure it's helped you and everyone. It's a big push, and you want them to be happy and have the options that you had as a child. So.
And I'm sure you're going to inspire your children to achieve great things. I can understand, just talking to you about how you've won your Inspire Awards as well, is really inspirational stuff. Tell us a little bit about, if we may have people watching this that might think about, well, it's okay for you, education, whatever, it's not really right for me. What advice would you give to someone who's thinking about further learning or picking up a new skill? What advice would you give them? Should we start with you, Isaac?
Yeah, so like I said, I got kicked out of school. I hated in-class learning, but that isn't the be-all, end-all of education. Like, I found an amazing path with Swansea Council and in an apprenticeship programme, and it's not just construction, there's a million options out there, and it's not just classroom learning, you can do hands-on learning. Also, you are getting paid for it as well, which is a bonus, but you're not stuck in a classroom, you're out doing things hands-on. So I would recommend it to anyone.
It's the right form of learning for you?
Yeah, it's the right form of learning for me, yeah, exactly.
Did you ever feel like giving up, Isaac?
Oh, yes.
And so what stopped you? When you get to those moments, because we all have those moments when you think, do you know what, I'm going to just jack it in and I'm not going to do it. What made the difference that made you continue?
The big difference for me was my daughter, but also the options that Gower College gave me. I thought, so with school, I was just labelled as a bad boy, misbehaving. But then when I came to college, they helped me find something that was well suited for me. So I think that when they gave me the options they gave me, and I had my daughter there, and I wanted to provide for her, I just found the right path.
Yeah, really interesting. Zaina, what about you? What advice would you give to anybody watching?
Little advice for the really youth ones and younger age students at the moment, who are really, I'm sure they are keeping their eye, some of them, keeping their eye on TikToks, social media. Oh, this is really shortcut way to get to be, I don't know, like a millionaire, or I don't know, with followers and money. So yeah, this is not a real success, I would say. You really, even if you are like addicted to social media, but use that for your education, use that for your work, but not rely on these trends, thinking this is what lasts. no, definitely education first, I would say.
Okay. I think it was Nelson Mandela that said that education is the most powerful weapon that you can use to change the world, didn't they? You've both faced significant barriers, massive barriers that I can't even begin to imagine sometimes in terms of some of the things that are going on in your stories. What are the things that you've learned from those barriers? Because you've overcome them to actually achieve the success that you've had. And we'll come on and talk in a moment about your future and what your future aspirations. But again, any specific advice about if you've got individuals watching this that are facing some really particularly difficult barriers to learning, what advice you might give them? Zaina, could I start with you on that?
Yeah, I might talk a little bit about my lived experience in this, especially I came from different culture and different language, and even different directions, not in just the driving, but also in writing and reading as well. So yes, I would say, never give up, and always you have to look at other options. If this learning style doesn't work with you, definitely there is another. So I had an experience going to an ESOL class, which is ESOL is for people who want to learn English as second language, basically. And from the first class, I said, no, this is not for me. Even like I'm a teacher, I said, this is not for me. This is definitely not the style that I will learn with, or like enhance my English language acquisition that way. But as a person who sign language in my own language, I thought, okay, so let's go and explore how sign language works in the UK. And from that course, I was able to communicate with people, and I found a safe place for me a safe environment to learn English through sign language, basically, with other learners and my fabulous tutor. And then being out in with people in the community, with charities, doing volunteer work, that style really worked for me. But yeah, always, yeah.
Never give up.
No, definitely.
Okay, cool. How about you, Isaac?
Well, we've had a few things happen to me and my family this year. And just the support, just reach out for support. The support the college gave me, the support work gave me. I couldn't ask for anything else. It gave me time to grieve my brother-in-law, and it was a hard time, but just reach out to people. Don't fight these battles on your own. Reach out to people and they can support you and help you on your journey. So, just reach out to other people. And
yeah, that feels like a really important message from both of you, actually, is that you're not alone. So anybody sort of like listening is to find and reach that tutor or somebody in a support role that can actually support you and help you. Fascinating stories. What next? You're Zaina doing some fantastic work at a really important organisation, City of Sanctuary. What are your hopes for the future? What's Zaina going to look like in the next 5 to 10 years then? What's the future hold for you?
Yeah, so hopefully the coming 3 years I will be finishing my PhD. I will definitely explore more academic research opportunities. Also, I'm very much looking forward to work more closely with the Welsh Government and see how we can bring the education in Wales to develop more and more and flourish it more and more.
Fantastic. I'm sure you're going to be successful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And Isaac, what's the future hold for you?
Well, I've got a few plans. Originally, I wanted to go into the management side of construction. I would like to be an apprentice ambassador or something and help people complete their apprenticeships and guide people the right way, because I really do feel apprenticeships are the way forward. I find that if anyone has struggled in school, don't get me wrong, if you want to get a degree, you get a degree, but with an apprenticeship, I think there's a lot of people out there who just push it to the side, and I really think that you shouldn't, and it's a really good path for work. So I would like to help be an apprentice ambassador and work my way up that way.
I think you'd be brilliant. And I have to say, sort of like just talking to you has really inspired me in the last few moments, and hearing your stories and hearing about the things that you want to achieve in the future. So now I'm really worried, because now I think you're going to ask me a few questions. Okay, so I'm going to batten down the hatches now and wait to see what you've got to ask me. Who's going to go first?
Happy to.
Okay.
Okay. So my first question would be, can you explain more about Medr and your role in this organisation?
Okay, so I'm the Chief Executive of Medr, and I've been started this on a secondment basis from my job where I was Principal of Bridgend College, and then I started formally in February of this year. So this is a new organisation, and the organisation is responsible for the funding and regulation of all post-16 education in Wales. So that's work in our universities, in our colleges, apprenticeships, adult and community learning, school sixth forms. So all the funding for that comes together. So we're responsible for trying to join the dots, I suppose, really, of actually how we bring all that together and to think about how we can make Wales even better in the future.
What does Medr need to do to support more people in Wales to get access to opportunities to learn? What's your vision for lifelong learning and second chances?
Well, I think probably listening to you today is sort of like that's exactly it in a nutshell, isn't it? Despite the barriers that you've actually faced in your lives, you've found a pathway, a passport, I suppose, through education to achieve the things that you want to do. Your journeys are quite different. Your futures maybe look quite different as well. But what unites the two of you, I suppose, and I suppose there's a real message here for us in the post-16 world, is actually is to trying to help people to remove some of those barriers, to give people the support, to show people the opportunities and the power of education, because with it you can actually transform your own lives and the lives of others as well. And you're living proof of that, I suppose.
Yeah, so what do you think the biggest challenge will be?
I suppose an easy answer is funding, because it's going to be really difficult. We know that over the next few years, and there's lots of ambitious plans that everybody will have for the future, but we know that things are going to be really tight and really, really difficult. But if we park that to one side for a moment, I think one of the challenges is sometimes we maybe need to think differently. Sometimes if we do things the way we've always done things, we get what we've always had. And I think that sort of, again, there are many more individuals like the two of you out there that maybe aren't seeing the possibilities in education that you've seen, that has got you onto the trajectory and the path that you're on. So I suppose one of the challenges is how we get everybody to work together to think about how do we make the system, make the provision even more powerful in Wales in the future. So that's one of the challenges, I think.
And what are you most looking forward to doing?
Conversations like this, actually, is one of the things that I miss, I suppose, in my previous role working in a provider is even more opportunities to talk to learners. And I think you've been a great example today of reminding me about sort of at the end of that spreadsheet and those numbers that you might look at on a computer screen or whatever, there are real individuals that we're trying to make an impact on here. And that everybody who goes into education, I think, does it from a point of view of wanting to help and support and to help transform lives. And it's about reminding us constantly of that's the purpose of what we're trying to do. So there are more Zainas and Isaacs out there that are having the kind of journey that you're having at the moment, which is so positive.
My last question would be, what do you think the learning for adults and lifelong learning would be the coming 5-10 years?
Well, again, I hope sort of one of the duties that we have as Medr is to promote lifelong learning, to think about how we're doing that. There's work for us to do in Wales. We want more people to achieve higher qualifications. We want more people to be engaged in learning. So I think in 5-10 years' time, what I would hope is that there are more Zainas and Isaacs out there. There are more people that are actually accessing learning and upskilling the skills that they already have. That's what success would look like, I think.
Amazing, thank you.
Thank you.
And you're obviously in a very prestigious role at the moment. What led you here?
At the moment.
At the moment.
So, yeah. Well, have you got plans for me to do something else?
I might. But what got you here today? What was your learning journey like?
That's a really interesting question. If I go way, way back, and I know we were talking earlier that sort of like we're both sort of from Swansea, and so I grew up on the east side of Swansea. My dad died when I was 9 years old. I was one of 4 sort of like children. I saw my mother Talk about role models, my mother working 4 cleaning jobs to make sure that we had the school uniforms and all the things that we actually sort of needed. So I suppose that was my inspiration, and I kind of fell into teaching, if I'm totally honest. I did my degree and then wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I thought I'll be a student for another year and did my PGC. But within 30 seconds of being in my first classroom, my first class that I took, I knew this was something that I was absolutely passionate about, and I was so lucky that I falling into this vocation, my calling, if you like, just like you've found your thing, and I found that, and I just realized that education was so important to me. I had some of those teachers and family members that took me to one side, that saw something in me when I couldn't see it maybe in myself, and held up the mirror to me and said, like, yes, you can. You have the ability to do some of these things. So I followed that trajectory. And then as a teacher, I suppose, I was just fascinated by how you help people to unlock themselves, to actually make them realize that actually they are able and they do have capabilities. Because we all have those inner voices, don't we, that says like, no, you can't. Who do you think you are? You can't do this yet. But yes, you can. And anything is possible if you have the right sort of like attitude. And you only need at least one person, just one person around you that sees that belief in you. And that's what I tried to do as a teacher, I suppose, with the students that I taught in schools, in colleges and in universities, to see how they could achieve their potential. So that was my journey, and it influenced what I did later on in life, I suppose. And I'm coming towards the end of my career, I suppose, and you're right there. I'm really envious. You're so young and sort of like you're right at the start sort of like of it all, which is really sort of inspiring. But that's what I tried to do, and that was my journey into it. I also had an elder brother who went into teaching ahead of me, and that made me start thinking about teaching as well. He was a very important role model for me.
Touching on that, you said holding the mirror up for students to realise how good they are. I think that's a very good point about that some people just need that push from the teacher, or maybe not immediate family, from someone who has seen you do your work and just tells you you've got it in you to push you. So I do think that's a very good point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember I had a couple of teachers at my old school in Morriston Comprehensive in Swansea, and they kind of, you know, could see, because I could have easily gone down a different path, I think, but they kind of made me see that there was something in me that I could achieve things, and I think that's a really important role of a teacher, is to help people to actually see that when they sometimes can't see it in themselves. Yeah, it's a really good point, Isa. I think that's it. We're done. Excellent. No, great. Thank you. No, it was lovely talking to you.